This is happiness, to be everything at once. Be unblinded, be unlearned, be unbridled and unburned.
Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new episode of Mood Prep. My name is Dave Nixon, and today I would like to discuss with you worth. I mean, I've talked a fair bit about self-worth. I think it's not something that we should just hear once about. It's something we should continue to sort of break down and understand and start to really question ourselves and pick apart where maybe we put conditions on our self-worth. It's quite a very, I suppose, detailed prospect. And so this is the interesting thing around things like motivation or just being inspired. It's like we can be motivated and inspired, but at the core of if we have these frames around conditions on our self-worth, then the reality is that it doesn't matter how motivated we get, we're going to come up against this wall because we don't get what we want, we get what we're willing to receive, we get what we feel we deserve. And so that's a really key, really crucial message to truly understand. And the message behind this is like, if we feel like we deserve to be treated a particular way, and then someone comes along and treats us like significantly better than that, then we will often reject that, because what we know to be true is that you can only love someone up to the level that they love themselves. If we treat somebody significantly greater than they treat themselves, one of the key issues here is they start to think that we want something else from them, that it can't be real, this must be fake, and often that person will go ahead and do what appears to sabotage, right? But I've talked before about there's no self-sabotage, right? We don't self-sabotage because we operate according to the frames and beliefs that we have running. There's things that we may consciously want, but we have unconscious beliefs that are in conflict with the conscious desire, right? And so if we were to achieve the conscious desire, then what happens is that we're actually sabotaging the unconscious beliefs. And so this is where we come into issues. It's like, oh, I keep on fucking sabotaging myself. It's like, no, you're trying to just change the face of the car, right? There's a mechanical problem with the car, and so you go and give it a paint job. It's like it's just not going to change the way the car operates. It may change the way the car looks for a little bit, but that's it. It doesn't do anything other than that. It's like there's something mechanically wrong or mechanically no longer working that needs updating. You need to go and change the mechanics. And so our brain works the same way. Our mindset, our developmental work, it works the same way, is that we have to be able to address the unconscious frames and beliefs in order to truly start changing the way that we operate. And so when we look at this self-worth thing, is that if we have these conditions on our worth and what we feel like we deserve to receive in our life, then what ends up happening is we will operate in a way that when opportunities come up to receive more than what we feel we deserve, we will often sabotage them, so to speak. We will push them away. We will reject them. Because that's not for me. That's not what someone like me. A person like me doesn't go with people like you. It's that kind of conversation, right? It's getting a job and feeling like an imposter the whole time. It's all that sort of shit. So how do we go about changing this? How do we go about recognizing this, identifying it, and go about changing it? Well, one of the analogies that we use for this is that, let's say you walk into a store and there's an item there that you want, and it's for $20, right? And you go up to the counter and you go and give them $50 because you see the value being $50. They're like, that's $20. It's like, yeah, I think it's worth $50. Now, most business people will probably take the $50, but play along with the analogy here. If it's $20 and you try and pay $50, they're not going to take the $50. They're going to keep on giving you $20 because the item has a worth of $20. Now, when we do this to ourselves, when we go, I'm worth this much, and someone goes and goes to give us more worth, right? They go to treat us to how they see our worth. We will give them change. We will only allow them to meet us where we think we're worth. And so what we must do here is start to really question, what are the conditions I'm putting on feeling good about myself? What are the conditions that I put on myself for allowing myself to achieve what I truly want in the world? And when we start asking these questions, and ask them from a place that here's the key thing. You have to ask your questions wanting to know the answers objectively, not being upset, not being happy, proud, sad, none of that sort of stuff. Objectively going, if I was to truly want to know, if I really want to know, and I do, what would be one of the conditions that stop me from getting what I want? And this is the key thing around like shadows. And so shadows of a personality from like the Jungian psychoanalyst perspective are usually the dark parts of our personality that we've rejected, right? And the things that I could never be like that. I couldn't do that sort of stuff, right? To think that we couldn't kill someone or something along those lines. And here's the thing, if you don't think that you could not kill someone, right, you don't know yourself well enough. And people will reject that. And I've got no problem with people rejecting that. But in certain circumstances, if you're put in circumstances, there's a chance that you would do that. Now, from a psychopathic, like cold-blooded, no reason whatsoever, kill an innocent person, I'm not saying that every single person has the capacity to go down that path necessarily at all. That's a deeper conversation. But what I'm saying here is that I'm using an extreme example of things that we reject about our own ability. And if we're rejecting that, it becomes a shadow. But that's just a small example, right? The other shadows are like thinking that, I use the nice guy example all the time, that I'm a nice guy and people should be treating me the same, but when I don't get my way, fuck those people, right? It's like everything because I'm the nice guy, because I identify as this nice guy, and I reject all like the bad things about me, so to speak, quote unquote bad. Those things always show up. I just had someone the other day talk about how they and this is a good dude. I fucking like this guy. He's doing some great things. But simple post where he's like, if you have a negative attitude, leave that shit at the door. I have no fucking time for negative attitude. It's like, it's pretty negative, man. It's like, can you not hear the negativity towards the negativity? And that's a shadow. It's just like, I don't want that fucking shit in my life. It's like, but you're being it right now. And I'm not saying that that's a small, simple example in a spectrum of examples from that to killing someone, right? But the key message here is looking at what parts of our personality have we rejected that if we were to look towards, we would learn more about ourselves and be able to find our self-worth, right? Because here's another example that may be a little bit closer to the conversation. Guys like me don't get girls like you. Right. There is a condition on my worth. I'm putting my worth based on potentially childhood frames about what a guy like me is, an identification, and a girl like you, whatever that identification is. And because of that, I don't get to spend time with girls like you. And hey, let's not just play the gender stuff. It goes fucking both ways, and in many different areas. Maybe there's a female frame for some women that are like, I can't do that job because I'm a girl, and that was something that I was taught as a child, which we know is not true. That like, let's clear that right now. That's bullshit. It's a lie. It's a limiting frame. But there's these things. These are examples of bullshit that we put on ourselves that operate in an unconscious space that dictate our conscious world, our conscious reality. Right, and this is why we can achieve so much and feel so fucking little. Feel like we're just not getting anywhere with our life. Feel like we're just not. No matter how much we achieve, I just can't seem to feel fulfilled. Why is that? It's like you're not fucking living true to you. You're not living true to who you are and what you want to do with your life. So you have an opportunity here to go deeper into your own psyche, into your own personality, into your own self, and start looking at the conditions that you're putting on your worth. How much are you worth? You can put a fucking dollar value on it if you want, right? There's a big difference between priceless and worthless. But if I said, what's the price or what's the worth? It's a very similar question. So being priceless and being worthless, right? We're full of worth, but we have no price. You can't buy someone, right? There's a whole other podcast within that there, isn't there? Hey, everyone's like, but Dave. So, looking at this from this objective standpoint of how we put limits and conditions on what we feel we deserve in our lifetime, not just from a monetary standpoint, from love, from a career standpoint, from a physique standpoint, right? And it's these unconscious frames, these unconscious beliefs that are heavily linked to our behaviors. And they're heavily linked to who we are at this moment. And we can change that if we go deep, right? The problem is people say superficial because they're scared to go deep. And those people are scared of change. They're scared of their own fucking shadow. Until then, team, you should definitely listen. I've talked about shadows in this podcast before. Jump on Jump on Mood Prep on Podbean and search shadows. It'll come up for sure. Otherwise, that's me. I'm done. Until tomorrow, team. You know the drill. If you found this podcast beneficial, please pass on to a friend that you think would also find it beneficial. If you haven't already, jump on Facebook, search Mood Prep Online. I'd love to see you in there. Until tomorrow, peace and pizza, kick today in the dick, and slay the fucking dragon. I'll see you soon.
To be everything at once, be unblinded, be unlearned, be unbridled and unburned.